Yesterday was actually a little better. Um, I went into Save Lot, and only one guy mumbled something when I walked by. No, I know it's not funny. No man's to ever help her. Oh my God. That agent was running a scam. And like my friend from the prosecutor's office, he can't talk to you that way. And he don't have that kind of authority. It's a scam. I told you. This is how bad this is. Okay, September 17, 18. I This is 18, it should be the 17th or 18th. I went up to Advanced America. Okay. I hate doing this over and over again. I had Annie, the district, on the way up there, had hired me as an assistant manager, sent me, I was supposed to go to Darrow Road in Twinsburg, sent me up to Streetsboro instead, called me on the way. Okay. I get home, I'm at the end of the driveway, it's raining. Okay. Uh, I'm at the end of the driveway and it's raining. My mom calls in. Or I'm talking to my mom, okay? And I'm trying to get off the phone with her. It's a downpour rain in my mailbox across the road. I don't want to get my phone wet, and I'm just trying to get off the phone with her, okay? So I got to go over and get my mail real quick. And Dave calls in. Why won't you go in the house? And I'm like, Dave, are you home? No. I'm at work. I said, Dave, that's not funny. There's no one around. Okay. And I'm, I said, Dave, why do you think I'm somewhere else? He's like, I know you're at the end of the driveway. I have nothing to trace me in my phone. Our outside cameras, that's all we had was outside cameras. We didn't have inside. We had it to the side yard, the front porch, and the back porch. And that was it. It didn't go to the driveway. In October, we started laying a camera on the end of the boat so you could see the driveway because people were pulling in and looking at me and leaving after the case started. But before then, okay, so I'm like, Dave, that's not funny. And he said, Karen, I know you're at the end of the driveway. Okay, why won't you go in? I said, Dave, that's not funny. Annie from the district manager calls in, what's your problem? I said, well, no, what do you mean? You're mean to so-and-so. And I said, I don't know who you're talking about. I went to the other store. So she's yelling at me, and I hang up, and I call my mom back. She's like, he's up to something. I said, I know. So the next day I went up, and Annie was there, and the assistant manager verified it wasn't me, and she tried to give me my job back. But it was too weird. So I... Okay. Sarah Zales, her old manager, her name may be Courtney. She was a heavy set. Well, she wasn't even heavy set. She was just, she wasn't thin, but she wasn't heavy set. She was a blonde lady, and older blonde lady, probably 50s, went to work with Katie Brothers at Ashcroft and Oak. There was a brown-haired, brown-eyed white girl that also went to work with Katie too. Those two co-workers went to work with Katie. I've known those women for years. You go in, hi, how you doing, Karen, or how you doing, Miss Hall, okay? And then try to sell me stuff. They waited on me for years, okay? All right. So, they came up to me and they're like, Karen, them and Sarah, Katie, we all go out to eat afterwards, and she said their church is going to have you killed. They have a permanent plan to do away with you. They have men to take care of you. And they're going to teach you a lesson. You never forget they're not meant to kill you. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay, I'm like, great. They are not nice people on ungodly levels. And now well, okay. That's like the 18th or 19th though. Also, okay. I call my ex-friend and we're talking. She asked me down to prayer. And she's talking about watching this lady's kid, for $10 an hour and da 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 da. And she's like, she's gonna be here any minute. I got you on counter. And I hear her knocking. She's like, I'll let you go. And I almost hung up and I thought I said his girlfriend. I'll listen for a second. What's that one? I hear the door open. Guess who was on the phone with? You're kidding. I almost tricked her into coming down to prayer where those two guys would show up to take care of her. It's not like anybody in the church would help her. You know they pay people to know where she's at. I could have used the money. I actually told her I'd step in for prayer for her. As if. I couldn't believe it came out of my own mouth. Well, that's about as bad as Kaylee. She used another minister because Keith charged too much money. Okay? Well, you know who was in that meeting? It was Keith Bishop, Strange, and Ron, and they took up $25,000 to have her murdered because Ron wants her dead because she got well the year his kid died. And I gasped and I hung up. I had nothing to do with Ron's kid's death. May 3rd, 2003, his son Tyler, his father-in-law Phil, took him to a church baseball game. He ran a stop sign, and a semi hit him. It's Phil's fault. My whole family's at home. We had started where Dave was out of work, went to file Chapter 7, and we switched to Chapter 13, and we had got locked out of our house in Perry. And we just got let in, and they had vandalized our house while we were locked out. So my whole family's at home working on that house. And Brian Laney had to come tell us that they were dead. We weren't even in the area. I had been sick for a couple of years. I had about 6 or more surgeries. I went through pain management, and the pain management I went through put like 20, 30 steroid shots in my neck and back. And I'm once a month, and I started gaining all kinds of weight. Then I started swelling. Well, I gained like almost 100 pounds. My thyroid stopped working, my adrenal gland stopped working. My pituitary gland started swelling. My whole body started swelling. My legs were so full of fluid. I would go into an orthopedic doctor and they would pull syringes of liquid off my knees. My one friend said, I know a doctor that just deals with pain medicine and people get better. I'd like you to meet him. So I go in and meet him. He said, where they give you all these steroids and everything stops working, gain all that weight. They give you all these different medicines, da 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 da. He said, I just use pain medicine. Pain is pain. I get you out of pain. You'll start slowly moving. And as you start slowly moving, those tight muscles will gain strength. And then he said, and before you know it, you can slightly exercise and then exercise. I have a lady that I did it for, and about 9 months was running on a treadmill. Okay, it did work. I started getting stronger. I started getting better because I didn't feel the pain. Was able to move because I didn't feel the pain. Well, by the grace of God, about 3 or 4 months later, I got well. Then it took me about 4 to 6 months to get off all that pain medicine. Nothing to do with nothing. But Ron lost it at that funeral, laying his body across the child's, screaming, God raises child from the dead, and then laid on the floor wailing till his screams filled the sanctuary and carried it. The men had to carry him out. He's gone mentally for a long time. And that Minister Strange is a bastard. He told everybody I was faking I was sick and faking I got well to hurt poor Ron while I was grieving. I had nothing to do with nothing. He was telling it 15 years later. I have MRI reports. I have blood work. And I have a scar. I have doctor's reports. He just controls people with his lies. Okay. Oh, that sound familiar? Part of the Liar Pants of Fire. It's Pinocchio group. I named them. Do you want to be mean teenagers? I'll be a mean 5-year-old. It's a Pinocchio group. Okay. Well, and he's crazy, and he's a millionaire. Okay. Ron is. Alright. So I'm freaking out. I call John. I call my oldest, and I call Dave. And I don't know what's going on here. Dave grabs me. Oh, the 2021st. I love you. I love her more. I'm so sorry, Karen. You have to die for her. I heard a man slit your throat, stab you in the heart. Shoot you if you run. Okay? But you have to die for her. You'll bleed out, Karen. But you have to die for us to get everything. For 30 minutes, he held me down, rubbing my head, rubbing his face into his beard into my face, squeezing me. Okay? 30 minutes. And it was turning on. It was no dream. I was afraid in the cold, dark night he would kill me with his own bare hands. The 21st, I go, I'm freaking out because I had almost been kidnapped. I had almost been carjacked, followed and rounded, linked back to that church, and then attempt to break in at the Perry house in Maslin on Lenox. And he told the Perry officer they knew where the security system was, and he was the main subject. And the other one, following rounding, was linked back to that church, and I almost kidnapped in front of one of the church people. And he left me when I was almost carjacked. Realized it was okay. How stupid was I? Huh? I was waking up with bruises, hand marks. I was getting dizzy on drinks, and I thought I was overworking. They were date rape dragging me. They had been breaking in the neighborhood. They used ecstasy, a human slave drug, on me. And feeling drunk and nauseous, that's why. And I don't drink. I just take a drink out of a Diet Coke and you get sick and dizzy and hours pass. Wake up with injection marks thinking, where did I bang my arm or my leg? Hand marks. God. They said they even beat me under drugs. But I don't remember. I remember the rape and torture day in the real case. When I try to get people help, they're that dangerous. Okay? Alright. So I'm at Giant. I had to get something for Giant Eagle on the 21st of 18. My ex-husband calls me. We're married at the time where you're at. Buying something for dinner. I had a phone call to me. Don't go. Please don't go. I'm walking around and I have like, my God, my head's spinning. What am I going to do? It's spin them. The whole time it's spin them. Now I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know anybody. What am I to do? Okay? So what am I going to do? I don't know anybody. I'm in the middle of nowhere. And it's been them, and now they got me out here where they want me. I see they're giving flu shots, and it's like, I'm going to have to move out or tell them where I'm going to end up. I got a flu shot. I sat down on the bench. The way the front of Giant Eagle Ravenna was set up at that time. At the end of the main wall was a little door where they did the flu shot. There was the long pharmacy. By the long pharmacy was a bench. And then the ATM for Huntington Bank, then Huntington Bank, and then the help desk, and then you walked out. Okay? So I walked from where you got the flu shot at the end, front of the pharmacy, and I got dizzy for a second, so I sat down. I can't believe she's here. And it's the same voice of I got her. Hood went up over his head, and he chased me. I'm like, my God, where is he? I stood up, and I turned my car, and it's right by the HM. He comes up behind me. I'd stab you right here and now if it wasn't for that security guard. Well, I turned my car right into the bank. I went to open an account. Got away from him. Pizza Hut lady comes up. I get paid to watch her. He said, lady, I mean it. Stay out of it. It won't be worth it then. She's like, no, I get paid to watch her. And they're yelling at each other back and forth. She walks off. The guy that tried to kidnap me, tried to carjack me, just threatened to knife me, and walks off. Okay? And Dave tries to call me, and I put him on hold. I won't let him know that I know you just did this. Okay? Well, I get in my car. I'm freaking out. I drive from Ravenna to Camp. My God. It was like, ah! Kind of thing. You know what I mean? But seriously, I was freaking out. I drove from Ravenna to Camp. I get down there. I go to get gas. An African-American lady spit in my face, and her white boyfriend were harassing me. I got to go in, a white man with black hair, dark eyes, and an eagle tattoo. What a shaming. Got away from that freak. Okay? I get back home. I got away from him. And Dave's at the end of the driveway. And this is September 21st, 18. My girlfriend's rich and powerful. Her family owns the place. You won't be able to stand it. It's like it's not a communist country. No one owns the place. And I thought that girl cost me my job. He's got connections now. So by the 22nd, 23rd, I called the FBI, called the hotline. I'll have an agent call you back. And then I can't get out of bed. Where I had giant bruises the size of orange grapefruits, hand marks, a cut. And I was getting dizzy on drinks. They said they were beating me under amnesia drugs. Okay? I remember seeing a weird phone number that I go to voicemail. Okay? Listened to the voicemail later on. And rolled over crying. I can't. Because they were drugging me up so bad I couldn't get out of bed. Got up that evening, ate something small with Dave. Next day, same thing. Third day, I get up and I feel like I'm drunk and my head's spinning. And I don't drink. And it's like, what is wrong with me? Okay? And I thought, I got to get some blood pumping up. I got to figure out what to do. So I call Sarah and at sales. Now, when I called the hotline, I gave them those 3 women, I give them like 70-80% of that shit. Okay? And yeah, I said, Sarah, if I call someone, will you witness for me? Yes. I said, well, I actually spoke to an agent. I got his information, and I'll bring it out later. Put it in a card. We went out there, and she's like, of course, I'm scared for you. I had 3 women knowing that they were saying they were going to kill me. Katie should have went to jail for conspiracy to commit murder. And nothing. Nothing. These people need to be horrified at the law not doing its job. I talked to a retired sheriff. He said the domestic violence law says if a female says they were hit, you go out and arrest the other person. And you can't say anything or you get fired. Well, I told Officer Bacon in Portage County that Dave beat me. And I had proof of it, and he didn't arrest him. And I told the chief of police that, and I sent a video of him admitting to beating me. He never even got a ticket. Yeah. And I also, yeah, he never even got a ticket. The retired sheriff that I talked to said you instantly get fired if you don't go arrest him. You don't have a choice. It's a domestic violence law, so you don't have a choice. You do it or you get fired. Okay? And he said you either do it or you get fired. If a female's been beat, they have to arrest him. And he said that or you're fired. Well, I told the chief of police he didn't arrest him either. Over the Portage County Sheriff's. He knows everything. His undercover police in the Portage County Sheriff's actually worked the case. In Canton, police called them officers. So, yeah. And they actually worked the case. They call them the boys. Okay? And they let Dave get away with attempted murder, assault with internal injuries. And then these people drugging me and trying to kill me up there, and they may have killed. And they tried to kill my son and his family. For Dave and Michelle. For Pete and his wife. Retired Judge Pete. So Pete and his wife and his dirty friends doing all this without a call. That's who's doing this. Okay? Well, okay. After Dave did that, and okay, we're going to get back to what happened in 18. Well, after I drop off that card, and we go up to Apostolic Church of Barberton. Paul Paymer got in Dave's face. My God, I had an FBI agent. My office is right there. I walk off Dave. He's yelling at Dave, what is an FBI agent coming up here with threats on her life? Okay? And he's telling him off. And Dave comes in, let's go, and he's yelling at me about calling the FBI on him. He's swinging at me in the truck, and I'm trying to put my hand where he's got the gun. He's threatening to kill me, and he's knocking my hand off, and he's like this in the truck, okay? And I almost jumped out at one point. And when we got home, I ran from him. Well, the next day, I had to call Wellback. My head's spinning again, because they were date rape drugging me. It's called needle someone. You walk up, and they use ketamine, Rufinol, Propanol, or ecstasy, like they're claiming with me. They're human slave drugs. And it takes 60 seconds, and you're sleepwalking for 4 to 6 hours. And it looks like you're cooperating and everything. That's what they were doing with me. They bragged, and Amy even heard them, my neighbor, that they were using ecstasy. It takes 60 seconds, and you're sleepwalking for 4 to 6 hours. It's not funny they did that to me, and here they were doing it before. Okay, so we're going to get down to this. I call Wellback. I try to tell him what happened at Huntington Bank. Huh? Do you know he called me a liar? I'm like, what? Here I'm crying my eyes out. I'm scared to death for my life. I've had 4 attempts, realizing it was all them. And I just got crucial evidence, because they probably called that guy that Pizza Hut lady did. We got a picture of him now on audio, and she's getting paid to stalk me. Banker witnessing, we got on tape and audio. He's like, you liar, you confess you're lying or I'll arrest you. I said, what? He said, I said, say it or I'll put you in jail. And I'm like, fine, whatever. He can't do that. He can't do that. I talked to officers. I've talked to someone that worked at the prosecutor's office. That agent cannot talk to you that way. They cannot use it, and they cannot go by it. No coerced confession is admissible. And he can't threaten you and bully you into saying you're lying under a threat of arrest, and they use it. The police know better. Okay? And he can't, and yeah, that's a long time in prison. Told him about the what a shame guy. He didn't care about that, because he was a freak. Had people looking for him. But he didn't want to hear about the threatened a knife guy. Yeah. So, he's like, do you know if he has a girlfriend? Well, I don't know. And he's rambling about it. And I'm like, some guy's rambling on my back. And I went, what? He said, stop. She doesn't know. I said, what? He's like, well, I'll list you in a informant. But if you tell someone I'll list you crazy, no man can help you. I told my friend from the prosecutor. Now, think about that. He's not going to plan on helping me. He's not, and now if I tell and I ask for help, no one else can help me. That is a setup and a bad one. And he did it on a recorded line. My friend that worked for the prosecutor's office started giggling like a little girl. That agent can't talk to you like that. He can't tell anybody, no one can help you, and he can't list you crazy for telling someone. He said that's a setup, and with no way, it's a no way out. He said, and the police know better. He said, in any protection program, you can tell whoever you want and they can't say a word to you. It's who you feel comfortable. It's called freedom of speech. They can't even open their mouth to you. They're not allowed. It's who you feel comfortable. And only who you feel comfortable telling. He said, and I'll tell you what. He said they can't list you crazy for telling someone, and they can't tell you no one can help you. And the police know better that they can't go along with it. It's called a backdoor deal. They call up somebody, they cut a deal with them to let some victimized get victimized or killed. He said, and the police know better than that. Failure to protect is abuse and misconduct. You automatically lose your badge. He said that's a scam, and they're running a fraud scheme down here. August 10th or 11th, 22, save a lot. Not save a lot. August 10th or 11th, 22, Walmart. Sorry, 62. Apologize for that one. Walmart, 62. I'm by the hair salon. Okay. They start following me. Got a bad habit break. We going well. We explained Michelle. And he sat her up. And it's funny, they're going along with it instead of doing the right thing. It's a setup. It's a fake setup. It's a bad fake setup. A totally illegal setup. And the Nimrods around here are fooling with him. Like Walter said, the police know better. The police know better than to go along with it. They would have to turn him over into the Department of Justice and help me regardless. Failure to protect is abuse and misconduct. Oh, I turned this into the Department of Justice, just like I turned my attorney in Seth into the Bar Association. Yeah. And it took a year and a half to get around to it. And he got suspended for a year, and he has to get psychiatric help why he thinks it's okay to lie to me. And then he has to be monitored for a year after to make sure he can make right decisions. I want you to think about that. And these people that are following me and harassing me, I want them to take their cells to emergency rooms. I want them to walk in and say, I think it's funny that retired Judge Pete kicked in Karen's door. I think it's funny they were stalking her. They photoshopped a shower scene. They date raped, drugged her, and told her to say something stupid. I think it's funny they paid off that agent to let her die, her and her family. I think it's funny. I think it's funny they almost shot her in the head driving. I think it's funny the gunshot night there may be people dead. I think it's funny they raped and tortured her and publicly humiliated her. I think it's funny that they did all these horrible things to Karen, her middle son's family, by tampering with the vehicles. I want them to go up into a hospital, an emergency room, and say, I think all this is funny. I want you to watch the administration's nurse, her face change, and reach underneath the counter and push a button. Do you know what's going to happen to you if you think this is funny? Do you know what schizophrenic, sociopath, or psychopath disorder is? The police will be called. They'll want to know your involvement. And guess who's going to get arrested? So if you follow me, why don't you just go to a nice little hospital and tell people you think it's funny what Pete and his wife and his dirty friends did to me, how they're pulling a fast one down here. And they paid off well. Will's supposed to be here. Some guy's pretending he's Will off in the distance. And they've been setting Will up. It serves him right. I had little faces walk up to me. Will made it up to me today. Will took me out today. I only went out with Will today. Now, my car's booked for that protective light case. And that retired judge is so advanced, he hacked into it and they sold it. Okay? And they sold it to regular people, so this is common knowledge. Okay? And my car where just police and investigators should hear me if I need help. Regular people hear me. It's like, you bunch of dumbasses. Stop letting your kids go out with some guy named Will. It's not Will. No FBI agent would take your kid out. It's inappropriate, and they never tarnish their reputation. The most they would do for you is have you meet at a store if they were a nice person, tell you to pick out your kid's coats or whatever, and then pay for it on a credit card. Most of the time, they'll just set you up with an agency because they really don't have the time. They would never be seen with your kids, and not a child alone. So they've been trying to set Will up the whole time to make him look like a weirdo. Serves him right. I was found innocent of everything. To cover his ass, he listed me informant, put me in a protective custody case, turned me over to the police, and had an officer talk to Dave. All the police know I'm innocent. My one set of grandkids made up mean lies and mean games to pretend for the girlfriend to get the house. And they got caught stating that on Thanksgiving of 18. I was found innocent of everything. This is just Pete and his wife, Michelle's mother, my ex-husband's girlfriend's family, and their dirty friends. Trying to pull a fast one down here without a call. That's it. Where they, by the 6th day of trying to move in there, and Dave had met Michelle within a few days before that, kicked in my door, started watching me in the house, make love to Dave. Do you realize how sick that is for his girlfriend's family to do that? Ew. Them and their dirty friends watching me make love to my husband, videos of it. How sick are they? And my husband's dating their daughter. Ew. They watch me in the shower. I guess they, being idiots, photoshopped a shower scene. And I started waking up with bruises. Started getting sick on drinks. And I was fine before. And I'd get dizzy. And then I'm like, am I working too hard? Wake up and I have marks on me. I'm like, where did I bang myself? Told you I was so drugged up in the first 2 weeks, I almost passed out doing the lawn. And you don't remember with amnesia drugs. You're just sick and dizzy. Then they lied they had sodium pentothal reports. And then flat out it's state rape drugging me. I don't get in trouble for that. And I don't get in trouble for the shower scene, and over 10 people told on them for both to the Canton police. It's like my one friend from the prosecutor's office. It's got ridiculous. Nobody's not helped you. It has. It's got flat out ridiculous. And a lot of people, failure to protect is abuse and misconduct. Now, did I ever have to stay quiet? Dave and his girlfriend, like I can't believe that. It's really sick what's going on. April 14, 22, 1:48 p.m., Save-A-Lot on Whipple. They really did have a man pretend he was FBI before she called that agent back. It was a stunt for Dave to confront her in the truck. They had people pretend to be her kids, bad-mouthing her. Kids didn't know anything about it. It's just been the people hurting her the whole time. Will left me up there to die. And anybody can help me. Will was corrupt. And Will, it serves you right. It serves you right they've been setting you up. It serves you right. My father made a comment all the time. Play with snakes, they bite. Play with the devil, I'll stick you with a pitchfork. I mean, they could have just paid me off, I would have left. But that would have been human. And retired Judge Pete and his wife and their dirty friends paying off Will. And they said they were friends. And that's why he did this. And the police know they can't go along with it. Someone needs to help me. And if a man don't have integrity to do his job, they need to send a woman with a bad attitude.